No, we're off to see the shaman, the wonderful shaman of the depths.
Caretaker.
Okay.
That's
Yep.
fair. Haha! Shaman time.
Shaman time.
So
Shaman King.
we come back with more haul than we've ever had, and step out onto onto the ground. I set things down and push the liquid off my suit and
Did we get a bunch of salvage from him?
him. What do you mean? What's the context?
The angler.
I got a lot of suits.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I actually got the rest.
Oh, good, good, good.
So we just roll back in with a bunch of fucking suits.
She'll kind of look over. Sweetlings, you've returned. Wonderful. I was so worried.
It's good to be back.
Come. I have prepared refreshments.
You are
Yeah,
gracious as always.
I could use
This
a
was for
drink.
you. It has a little straw.
Mm.
As
Thanks.
she has a little straw thing for herself too. And then she sets out a plate for you, Hazard.
He takes his helmet off because he can do that. Mwah! Crab claw noises. And he will, partake as well. What's up? There's nothing new.
Beginning will begin to tell the Knockern Witch, our shaman, about our adventure, our story that we went through, on how we
Okay.
are barely alive and a little hurting, but we managed to get out, as you can see.
Little difficult twist in the story, I suppose.
Hazard will add details as necessary.
Just as horrible as the rumors foretold.
I find that rumors are often more informative than misleading if you listen to them the right way.
That takes skill. This does.
Hmm. I like this one, DM. Can we keep this one?
Just don't hit one of those buttons.
Yeah.
I was listening to our session earlier, and I kind of picked out why she might be her like her negative trait. You know how we have a positive and negative side of things.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, anyway. We also managed to reclaim all of the caretakers from his clutches.
That's very good. And I assume you would wish to hang them up and pick your claim. I
I
don't
wish
mind.
to, like I did with the last one, um, use their story to enhance my own by learning from them and incorporating them. I feel like it brings them on the journey with me.
Sure. But now that you've had a sneak peek into what's ahead of you, you have to make a very difficult series of choices. How deep do you wish to dive?
All the way?
Well, there's a difficulty then.
Mm-hmm.
Your suit can only handle so many upgrades. You do realize this, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've brought these suits back, and if you use up those precious spaces, then things you find in the future will not be available to you. You'll be full.
I don't plan to use all of them.
Sure. But what we sometimes plan and what actually happens sometimes doesn't coincide. It's rather funny. Life does that to us.
Hmm. Agreed.
I just feel better having them out of other people's clutches and the angler's clutch. It just feels right.
My part. I would see the ones I acquired reintroduced to where they ought to be. After that, it's your discretion. Turn them into flower pots. You can give them to the clan's territory so that the orchids have a space to sleep. But they're ours. They belong with us.
Sure. Now, I do want to propose you this.
Mm-hmm.
The suits that you have brought in, I'll help you try and find what I can from them, and of course assist you in providing them to you. But I'd like to offer some diver chits for them instead. You wish to particularly dive deep, although your suit isn't built for anything close to that. You'll find
Mm-hmm.
the shelf will test you the most. It's straight down. And the pressures will get to you more and more. In fact, having a armored suit for shelf, you might find it's not enough. But that's okay. That's a part of your journey that you'll have to discover. There is no place for a caretaker when you get down to the bottom. Nothing there is going to be cooperative. Nothing there is going to wish to listen to you.
I understand that. I figured.
The caretakers are a clan meant for the shallow waters, where the light doth show and life is plentiful. And not so deadly. There's a reason why we have the smallest of territories and the least amount of trade skills and supplies available to us. But our territory that we've been pushed back to is impenetrable, or at least by those who have tried. Now, if a shelfer and their team comes up, or heaven forbid, trenchers, then this place may not hold. But again, we're tucked away and very small, and there's security in that.
Mm-hmm.
I've rambled enough. I'll teach you a little bit about what I know about the setup and system that you can look forward to when diving. It's a little bit more sophisticated than the original design, and it will be the key for you to understand and plan your suit for your dive. Now, if you wish to go and become a trencher, and since you wish to go all the way, a challenger, there's a different set of rules. I don't know those rules. But if you bring me another drop of nectar, I might be able to bribe a friend, an old one. They would know more. But their price is so steep and ludicrous for the services they provide, I can't afford to lose mine. Otherwise, this place wouldn't have a shaman.
We'll see what we can do.
Okay, so please remember this. This is very critical. You have your core base fundamental foundation suit. It's the original one you build. It can handle as much as your story can. In upgrade, so to speak. It's also the most elastic and the most protective. Everything else you acquire after that is a lot more rigid and a lot less flexible in what it is capable of doing and the limits of its operating parameters. The core suit is going to be your ticket to where you want to go. But again, it's that game of there's only limited amount of changes you can make. And there's no changing your original suit once you've done it. Unless you go to the processing plant, like I did. It's not a random encounter, and it's at the bottom of the shelf between the basin and the shelf territory. If you go there, there is a tier 2 suit upgrade you can achieve, like I did.
Is this the baptism you were speaking of?
Yes, it is. I don't recommend it. I didn't choose it. It was chosen for me, and I regret it. What it does is it fundamentally rewrites your story for an extra verse. It makes your story a saga and not a single book. And in doing so, of course, as a saga, it enhances the amount of your base suit that you can upgrade. I have 24 suit upgrades that I can utilize. Many remain empty. More than half, actually. A lot more than that. But there's other limitations. I have a faulty memory. It enhances your story, but it manufactures and enhances weaknesses fivefold. If you started with one weakness, you will find yourself with significantly more. It also will change you so irrevocably and unchangeably that it just. I can't really put it into words. It's hard to remember what I was before. It's hard to remember a lot of things these days. There is a vaunted third tier suit upgrade, but I won't have any information on that. I heard a passing snippet of information at one of the dry docks in the trench in my most bold days. And I'm surprised I even remember that now. But that is core. Now, you've actually found something very interesting, Alhazard. You have found a harness system. Harness system is a carapace.
Mhm.
Now, the carapace can become multiple things, and you can only have one harness system at a time, whether that's for tools or to increase your overall armor and diving capabilities. Alhazard, you have chosen a very specific set of rules for your suit. You have the lightest diving armor known, well, in the shallows. You have no protection to speak of, and no ability to dive deep, so to speak of. But
Mhm.
that's where the harness system comes in. Now, that does rob you of having a tool harness. Heavier suits can have external rigs. Now, the tool harness will always make any tool that you have on you, no matter what predicament you have found yourself in, available and ready to call upon at a moment's notice. You think it, and it's in your hand.
Mhm.
It is a story device. Your trusty tools will never fail you. Well, they might, but at least they'll be available to you. Most who do not have a tool harness have to attach it to their carry rig, your backpack, your salvage rig, which is the third part. That can actually be changed.
My first upgrade for my suit is a tool belt,
Now,
so
tool
that I
belt
can
or tool
hold these things.
harness?
I believe it was tool belt.
That's tool harness has a lot larger carrying capacity,
Mm.
but your tool belt could mean something else. Remember, if it's part of your core suit upgrade, it's a lot more flexible
Mhm.
and a lot more ready to suit your needs because you sacrifice one of your precious suit spots for it. So, in all purpose, although the space is limited, uh, those tools that you clip onto that belt will always be available to you, even in the worst predicaments. Have you got this down?
Of course.
Okay.
Hazard's like, clearly Alhazard is making notes. It hardly ever comes up, but he is a cyborg. He's like core memorying all of this stuff,
Mm.
which is to say, I'm writing it down.
Okay. Now, there are a couple more specific things. One, I think you have just discovered. It's called a treasure.
Mhm.
Now, treasures, they can operate in several capacities. One is the treasure themselves. The treasure itself holds no value beyond being a part of the treasure hunter clan. The treasure hunter clan, for every treasure they possess and have successfully stowed, that's an important term, stowed. And you'll find that will become extremely important in the shelf. Once you've successfully stowed it, the treasure hunters gain a bonus, an enhancement to their story in a very specific way. For the rest of us, it's usually dead weight and designed to kill you. The reason why we still do it is if you find the treasure untouched first, there is a story element for extracting it. If you successfully get it out, there's a chance, depending on the difficulty, for you to receive a boon of the depths, depending on the tier in which you found it in. A boon from the shallows could be anything from the ability to swim just a little faster, the ability to have just a little bit less drag on your person and the salvage you carry. It's little things, but they build up over time. And the deeper you go, the more powerful the boon becomes.
So, beginning, we'll place the compass down and say, um, so I didn't find this treasure first, but the person we got it from is now dead. Does that kind of cancel that out?
Once the boon's been claimed, it's claimed. It's part of the armor now. It's part of their story, even if they are to die.
I see.
That treasure you happen to have, you can either stow it but you don't particularly have the armor modification for that, which means you'll have to stow it in a sanctuary. That area over there where you put all the salvage is that area. That's where I stow my gear, my salvage, my somewhat material wealth.
Hmm.
And that locks it in for me. Things come and go, but it always have something to fall back on. Some individuals, especially on the shelf, if they have things stowed either on their person or in their safety, or in their sanctuary or their cache, um, it's protected from theft, especially if it's on their person. Even if you kill them, you will not find it. Certain clans on the shelf and below have a asset denial built into their armors. It'll come in the form of a treasure chest or a lockbox or a black box if you're really lucky. If you ever see someone put it inside, it's too late.
Okay.
The boxes are notoriously small if they're on the diver. Unless, of course, they are of a certain clan that is about. It's the derivative of the Salvager and the Scavenger clans. Treasure Hunters would be one of them.
Mm.
They will have large stowing compartments for the treasures they haul, so that you are denied the boon and the treasure they haul.
Is it possible to just take the box?
If you take the box, sure. If you destroy it and rip it open, it's not there. Or the contents
Mm.
therein are destroyed.
Hmm.
Very famous divers, if you steal their black box, it'll go missing on you, and they'll find it in the next salvage cache that they uncover. Rather silly, but that's what legendary gear can do for you.
Hmm.
There are two more things that I personally know of. One is external mounts. External mounts are things that can be clipped to your gear, but they are very easily lost and can be damaged permanently and destroyed without much recourse. There are items meant to come and go as part of your story, everyday use things. Things that, if you were to read your story as a book from an outside perspective, it would not be unexpected to see it on your person, and it would leave no lasting impression that it came or went. Now, the last one are trophies. Trophies are difficult. They can come in every shape and form, and they have varying different power levels and use. Technically, there's no real limit to how many trophies you bear, but trophies are one of those things that are a transactional thing.
How do you
You
mean?
can give them away, you can stow them away, you can have them on your person. For all the trophies take shape, usually in some form of an item. The real trophies are the ones you wish that you find as armor upgrades. but most of the time they are some sort of external upgrade or some harness upgrade. Most of the time, they offer the similar power to that of a core suit upgrade, but they don't take the slot for it. But they do weigh your story down the more you have. That's why a lot of the divers will stow them, trade them, sell them.
Hmm.
Even if they don't provide extra drag, it allows a stories moment for something to catch up to you. If that makes any sense.
A necessary extra weight in the water.
Sometimes it's worth it, but you have to decide. A safety rule of thumb: take trophies with you no more than your suit upgrades. If you can have that number rounded down, you're even more safe. Trophies have a terrible attraction to them. Not just to the ones who seek them, but to all those who are without or have less. They're the real wealth of a diver. Sometimes. Well, at least in the shelf. At the basin and the trench, they have a different system of wealth. Although, I don't remember. That's it for my little dissertation. It was a little long-winded, but you guys are smart.
Some of us.
Not enough to listen when someone talks.
I do get it. Did talk a bit.
That did a bit of listening.
Now, there are two ways you can find nectar. One is from a source of a plant, and that can be a sap reserve, a flower, if you're lucky, and a shaman.
Uh-huh.
Shamans will always have one. If you find a fallen shaman, they are most likely to have one on them as well. Very rare, though. You will most certainly not find one in the shallows. In the shelf, maybe. At the basin, absolutely you could find a fallen shaman. They have to move. The clans have to move constantly. There are predators there that like to crack open your safe spaces looking for meat.
Hmm. She said in the basin or in the shelf this happens.
The
Basin.
basin. Peace.
All right.
Dos. Beginning's gonna bring out the gut that she carved out of the angler.
That's rather morbid. What were you planning to do with that?
Had another chapter.
How so?
Well, I can't consume it. I don't think that would work the way I want it to. And it's not a piece of armor like everything else that I'm used to, and a weapon or something along those lines, but I feel like my suit will be able to do it. But
Well,
I feel like preparations are best used to.
depends on what you're looking to get out of it. What's your plan with it? What's your vision?
I wish to enhance my gut with this. I want to learn from the experiences of a rogue diver and how he managed to stay elusive for so long.
That gut may curse you
I figured as much.
in a way that is profound enough to have you in a similar situation to that of the angler.
Right.
You are trying to steal his power to steal from others, or at least that's what that gut would represent.
Wish to steal the powers of others.
Well, that's what his source of power came from.
Right, but I'm not looking to steal his source of power. I'm looking to go a little deeper into his story and to look on how, like I said, he stayed so elusive, on how he managed to make his decision to
That's
be a
not what the
rogue
gut's going to
diver.
give you.
She wants to take his instinct.
Well, you could have said that.
But I don't want it to be instinct, and I don't want it to be intuition. I want it to be its own thing. I want it to be its gut.
That's what intuition is.
Gut feeling?
That's the one. Like, is that not how things work for demons? We haven't really covered that. Is that not a Do you literally get feelings in your insides that give you direction?
Not all the time, but here I've kind of honed in on it.
Physical feelings inside your intestinal tract.
Yes.
Huh. Ahaz was like, wow, all right then.
As a shaman, I'll tell you, you can vaguely, maybe, get instinct or gut feeling. But what that gut is going to give you is the ability to stomach and digest the power of other divers.
Right. I see.
I'm not sure what you were hoping for, but I think you may have grabbed the wrong part. Although that would be extremely valuable in some clans. This clan does not have the ability to help you safely take some of that power. If you were to absorb it as an upgrade to your armor now, you'd become a rogue diver, similar to that of the angler,
I see.
and your story would take a different path. Um, you would have to seek one of the derivative of the hunter clans. Uh, despite their lofty names, Titan, Goliath, Colossus, and so on, Leviathan. They're not that powerful in the grand scheme of things. When you dive lower, There are derivatives of those clans. But they have all one core concept, which is taking power and imprinting it into their armor from the things they hunt.
Right.
Now, you hunted a diver, a man, so to speak, loose terms. You're going to need to find one of the manhunter clans down at the basin. They're the ones who will rip you apart and steal your power from other divers. Now, if you're able to get those guts imbued as a either a trophy or some sort of imbuement upgrade, then you might be able to get what you want. But at least you will be able to get something out of it without becoming a rogue diver.
Okay.
I'm not saying what you grabbed wasn't valuable.
No, I understand that, and
It's,
you've already explained that. I'm
That's
just
just different than what I was expecting. Surprised you didn't enjoy the hunter clans.
beginning will sigh and say, "Nope, that's not what I'm here for." Well, I guess I'll go put this on ice.
Just stow it.
Stow it.
Stow it in a box that would theoretically preserve it. Nice chest wood, but I don't think I've seen ice in. I don't remember. I do remember seeing ice somewhere. It's been a long time.
Seems like there's a lot of things that seem to become distant memories down here. Ice, fire, all manner of things.
So, what are your plans?
At the moment, to refresh ourselves and spend some time thinking of the next move. As
Take your time.
always, the plan is to dive, but the where and the how, and sometimes the why, all need to be sorted out first. Thank you.
Hmm.
Do.
How about we sort out the trophies?
Fair enough. I already have a tool harness, so I don't mind that going to you.
Sounds good.
Um,
Would you like the headlamp or the crowbar?
That one's kind of tricky.
They both have good merits about them.
That's true.
Tool harness could probably fit the crowbar. Which is a tool.
Oh,
After
yeah.
all.
Well, I already have a crowbar.
Okay. Yeah.
That said, having one that, comes back would be nice.
Ah, yes. That is one thing I forgot in my many, many things that I forget.
Hmm?
For every tier upgrade, each specific role can be enhanced. So if you find me another drop of nectar, I can house 2, since I have a tier 2 suit. Which means, as shaman, all the things I'm capable of will be enhanced thematically. Like my uh the trade that I taught you will go up a tier.
Oh, I see.
Also, any caretaker suit upgrades, I'll be able to give a minor tweak or improvement once. Little things.
Interesting.
But I figured having the chit pouch, since you got a chit pouch during our time down there.
One of them's just full of chits, and the other one is going to spawn chits.
Yeah, I just don't have a pouch at all, so I was thinking getting the lucky chip pouch would be a good choice.
Fair enough.
Because Matt, I can't hold chits in there, right? It's not just like, hey, you find one on the ground. It's like holds them, right? Or is that just not its function at all?
Um, it can hold chits, absolutely. But if it's empty, you're more likely to find it. Because if it's filled with them, it'll be hard to distinguish if you got one or not.
Right on. So it's more of an attachment for other pouches that are used that way. Because then you can just fill up your other pouch and keep that one empty.
Also, it only gives you a shallow salvage chit. It's not
Yeah.
a shelf chit or
Yeah,
lower.
yeah. I mean that's understandable.
You can end up selling it to one of the hunter clans or one of the salvager clans.
Yeah, but it would have been a better choice for the bracelet. Oh well.
Sorry, I'm typing stuff in real quick. I made a mad dash through all these notes. Um, so yeah, it seems like that is sort of a situational thing. If you need a chit pouch, I'm pretty sure I can just make you a chit pouch. If you got some salvage, like do you have like a half salvage somewhere?
No, I got nothing.
How do you have nothing?
Trade it all off. I don't have dimensional
Right.
storage like you.
Right, but we got 3. I thought we got like 3 salvage.
From our treasure hunt stuff?
Yeah.
Didn't we pass that off to scabs?
I don't call. Here it is. I just traded it out for chits.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's go find a safe harbor. Well, no, hold on. Here it is. I do have some basic. I have a small crate of building materials from this place. One of the
Sure.
salvage that I picked up that I just opened was a small crate of building materials. Can I just make her a chit bag now that I have the design of one to work off of?
That is a trophy, and that is not a design you can just.
So
Right. Well,
pouches
no,
are
not that
trophies?
one. Not that one. I have a normal chit bag. Remember
Oh,
that we
okay,
just got was the no
Uh,
drag chit bag. That,
Those building materials versus salvage materials. Building materials is for the sanctuaries and the safe spaces. Um, basically, they're construction materials.
right.
You also have, before you start making anything, I highly recommend you go through the suits first.
Right. Hazard wasn't going to loot the suits because we have like 17 of those, but those were meant for like these are essentially like the bodies of other caretakers, right?
Yep, they're stories.
Yeah. Um.
The only one I'm interested in is number 1 because I rolled it twice, which means 11. So yeah, that's what I'm going to go for.
Excuse me.
On them, there will be a chit pouch if you just want a chit pouch.
Yeah. Okay, that works.
Angler was after specific things. Chits,
Mhm.
not really among them.
Hard to trade or sell things when everybody wants you dead.
True. I got me some delicious tea. Woohoo.
There you go. I don't know what it is. Alhazard feels a little weird about cannibalizing these suits.
It's fine. That's the builder in you.
Well,
Something about ripping their stories apart after they've already been that's already been done to them. That defilement. Feeling skeevy about that's perfectly fine.
I think it's more along the lines of like this feels like it was. This feels like a weird twist of like the Centauri's concept of the final gift. 'Cause these guys didn't offer him this.
Yeah.
So
And these
it's
suits
not
look
really right to take it.
wildly different than any of the suits you found lying around.
Hmm.
These they look like they've been pried open with a can opener.
Yeah.
Savaged and ripped. All the chests have been pried open. So
Hmm.
the legs and arms are pretty well in shape for some of them. Some of the other ones have the arms and legs, the armor also peeled open, but all the chests have been peeled open, face hugger style.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Most of the helmets are left alone.
Fair. Has a good helmet. I think it's mostly just the fact that he's weird about the idea of like these people didn't offer their remains to him, and they're not enemies necessarily.
Vessel clan.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's just I don't know. Maybe he's just being weird about it, but it feels a little weird to cannibalize them to him.
I'm not going to cannibalize. I'm going to add their story to mine.
Yeah, that's called cannibalizing.
I
'Cause
think
you're
that more.
taking parts of them and
I think the
pulling them off
differences are
to make
stories
you
here.
stronger.
you're seeing it that perspective. I'm seeing as taking them with me on this journey compared to just uh, eliminating them and taking their pieces and then just eating them up.
Okay. Well, as you observe, suit number 1, what are you looking for? It's badly mangled.
I'm not looking for anything. I was just so I rolled it twice, right? I rolled the one and then one again, which gave me 11. Which then I was like, oh, all right, let's go for that. So the aspect of what's on the suit, what would be most ideal for beginning would be how far they can go in the depths.
None of these are all shallow suits. I mean, they have some modifications because all of them are medium armor class.
Okay.
That's the minimum requirement to breach the shelf / shallows. Um,
So why did you tell me then that I could go down to the second layer?
the shelf is the second layer.
That's what I'm saying. Why did you say I could go down there if I have a light tier suit?
I forgot you had a light tier suit. I
Well,
thought
it was
you
the
had a
way it
medium.
was made, right? Because it was a thing. You said something about the way it was made. Because like my suit is also a light suit, but it won't go that deep because of the nature of the suit.
Yours is a tier behind light tier. Yours is
1 armor.
It's not even that. It's 0 armor.
Oh,
yours is a free diver class
Hmm.
where you dive with no air tank. Hold your breath and just dive.
Hold your breath and go.
Yeah. So I forgot. The reason I said that is I forgot it was
okay.
a light armor tier.
Sure.
If you want medium,
I don't want medium. That's the thing. It takes away my ability to use my second chapter.
you're gonna need a harness then.
I might trade you mine if
No,
what
it's
I
okay.
want to do works out.
It's okay.
Otherwise, you could take one of these trophies and sell them. Or you could sell back the crowbars and we could keep the current crowbar. Because it gives us as much as
I
both
don't
of the
have a
crowbars we
crowbar.
purchased together.
I
You
don't
didn't
have.
buy one?
No, I sold it back to get some other lockpicking tools.
Oh, okay. So I've got the only crowbar. Well, here, you take my crowbar and I'll keep this one then. Because it'll go in my tool belt.
Okay.
That way we don't have to spend an
Okay.
upgrade, like a suit upgrade somewhere to try and make it fit.
The witch will go about her business.
Fair enough. Ah. Okay. Do, 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 do.
Hard thinkers, the lot of you.
It's mostly just my plans have completely changed with you telling me about this, because I had the assumption that because I had light armor and I can go to the second tier, I could also continue to keep on that aspect of my plot armor class and then continue to go deeper. But now with this new revelation, it changes my whole thoughts. But I can still get a harness, like you said. It kind of puts my plans, takes them out of the water instead of in.
Puns. So many puns. Presumably our host has a trickle charger amongst her effects.
Yep.
Can we start charging the headlamp that way?
Sure.
Thank you. I don't mind if you want the durable tool harness. Because I spent I literally just spent an upgrade. Like the first upgrade for my suit was
So
tool belt.
I was going to go with the tool harness because of
Mhm.
I had all these extra tools and I didn't really have a good place for them.
Sure.
Yeah. Um,
So yeah, no, go ahead with that. That's fine. I am going to keep the sea basin orb
I expected.
just because it seems exciting. I want to poke at it, see what it does.
Yeah, I was gonna pretty much do it like this. I took 3 trophies, you took 2, because that's what we kind of had time to do. So I was gonna keep the 3 and you keep your 2. Just gotta know which ones you want.
Well, we have 6 trophies under the list because I managed to acquire a couple.
Uh,
on
I
the way
managed to
out.
get 2 from the middle of the 3, and then I managed to
Uh-huh.
get 1 of the shallows.
Right.
So you must have gotten. No, you got 3 as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I just sort of slipped my hands in the box on the way out.
Yeah.
Nobody saw shit.
Yeah, 3 and 3.
Yeah. I'm assuming that you want the lucky chit pouch.
I wanted as much as I did before because I thought it would be, for an extra chip pouch, just get it out of the way. But I think
Fair
I'd rather have the bracelet, to be honest.
Because see, that was literally the thing I was looking at right now.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm not huge on salvage. Like,
I'm
it's
just gonna have you
useful.
roll for
You
it.
can do it to
If you
make
guys
stuff.
can't decide, I'm gonna have you
Oh,
roll.
we're just talking it back and forth, man.
Okay. Just a heads up.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Honestly, the sea basin orb and the durable crowbar are like 2 really solid picks for me.
Yep.
Because there's mystery and utility. Just pick whichever one of those 2 you want, and I'll take the other then.
All right, I'll take the bracelet.
All right. Then I'll take the lucky chip pouch. And thusly we go boom. So presumably, the chit pouch that I've currently got, DM, the one that was just a huge sack of them.
Yep.
Presumably those aren't all Shallows salvage.
True.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I was gonna say this
I'm
is
not
a
gonna
new.
make you nitpick on them. It's just
Five
to
are
to know that they're
shellfish
good.
skins.
Oh, okay. Do.
So like 5 out of the 60 then?
Well, it was 50, but yeah.
50. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Beginning's gonna suit up and kind of attach some of her tools and put on the headlamp. And it's detachable, right? So I could like hold it in my hand instead. Kind of
Mhm.
deal.
The tool harness?
No, not the tool harness. The light.
Oh, the headlamp. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's a headlamp. Like you set it on your
Yeah.
head.
Oh, I knew about that. It was just the other part. I was wondering how I could hold it because it's attachable, right?
Yeah. Well, a headlamp, or literal headlamp, is like it's got a strap, and you literally just rest it around your head.
Yeah, I know. I have one
No, this
myself,
one has a clamp.
Oh, okay.
but it's
This one has a
I
metal
see.
clamp. There's no strap
Fair
here. The straps will come off in the currents.
fair enough.
Fair.
This is an actual like this will clamp onto a metal piece, and then you twist the clamp tight.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
But you can pull it off and hand wield it. Now the headlamp. This is a low tier headlamp, even as a trophy. You need to charge it every time you use it, and it'll provide light for one scene.
hmm
Now that could be hours and hours. That could be a matter of moments.
Is there a way to charge it while we're on a dive?
If you have a trickle charger,
Huh. Could I build one of those out of the materials that I have available to me?
no, those
No.
are extremely rare parts. Your shaman only has 3.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm gonna open up my portal to my sanctuary, my inner domain, and first um, flick all the water out of the guts, and then have an ice chest. I'm gonna make it out of my inner domain, and
It's a literal ice chest.
and keep it on ice. And then I'm gonna put it.
A nice chest, ice chest.
Yeah.
A nice ice chest.
I require head rubs.
Oh, I understand. Why don't you come sit down?
I see you've gotten a distraction ready for me.
I
Will you
do.
play new threat?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So,
I'm beginning would like to try out this new compass.
you want to take it on a dive?
Yeah, maybe you can direct us in the for the last piece for the treasure. Kind of a feel on that.
Fair enough.
I'm even going to try and will it because I need to have something I desire. Seems fair.
Well, I'll say this. Before you go, I must reward you for such a diligently done job.
It was the least we could do for the clan.
That's what they all say. There's a lot you could do for the clan, and sometimes it just doesn't happen. So it's surprisingly pleasant when it does.
Yeah.
I'll give you each 2 chits for each suit of armor, and I'll each give you a petal.
Oh, wonderful. Hmm.
Beginning will say, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how many chits would I need to trade in to get another petal?
100.
100. It is
You're close.
unfortunately beyond my price range.
Per petal.
Of course.
A whole
And
a whole flower. Near about 1,000.
Hmm.
But you won't be finding any flowers down there.
No?
No, you can only find them up here.
makes sense.
Interesting.
It's too hostile down there.
Hmm.
What you may find, on the other hand, is sap.
You mentioned sap reserves, yes.
Yes, you'll find wounds sometimes, or oozings that you can collect off the side of the roots.
You regret it?
Hmm. I see.
If you are offered to join another clan, feel free to take it. There's only so much I can offer you, and I may limit your journey.
Would we be essentially
Trading one for another,
relinquishing?
one clan for another, yes.
I see.
There's a hierarchy. First clan you join is your inheritor clan. You're the one you've uh, the legacy of your story starts from.
Mm-hmm.
You'll still be welcome in the waters, just not with the same potency of the perks. Your upgrades will still work, as is as part of your legacy. But there's not a lot of respect for clans of the shallows the deeper you go. Many will actually find you dead weight, for your powers don't work the way they should. Especially in the flowways. The urchins and the anemones, they don't really care. Especially if you get thrown against them.
Thorny
Dashed into the
personalities.
spines and the reaching tendrils. Yeah.
That's fair. I will keep that in mind.
It is kind of humbling to know that we're not so powerful here. Ooh, also beware of time.
Mm-hmm. Time.
Time. Time up here is flexible. You can come and go and play around and recover and leave the waters. Shelf, there's a more permanence to it. If you make it your way to the basin, 300 years might mean 300 years.
I don't think my wife would appreciate me being gone that long.
Maybe. The trench, time. Time is a tool, but also that it's corrupted there.
Mm-hmm.
It actually kind of dissolves into the slurry.
Meaning they will be essentially swimming around in time.
Or fragments of it.
Good to
Time
know.
in the trench is weird. You could be in the past or the future, but you're never in the present. Or at least I never found the present.
Is so the presence here though now, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That's one of the many properties of the shallows and the shelf, is that time persists.
Okay. Will we be able to tell when we get down that deep? Is there different shimmers in the waters, or
Nope.
If we're down that deep, will it really matter?
If you're
so it's
down that deep, you will never be able to detect it because it is a tide, a current. you may find yourself washed into the future and drawn back into the past.
What about for pockets?
Pockets become more and more sparse and more precious the deeper you go, especially ones that endure. Because, just like safe places, micro pockets are clawed open by predators to get at the meat inside.
Right.
But they will, depending on the sophistication of it, and it can actually end up being a refuge from the passage of time. If you want to wait for the tide to come and go, currents to change,
I
so
was
that you
just more
stay in.
curious on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it'll tuck you away. It's called a micro pocket. Literally, you were tucked away in a pocket.
Shaman, I have something to bring up that's not related to your teachings about down below, but something more prominent of the forest. In your answer, when you called me, you said there was a change in the forest, something different. Has this? Have you noticed anything after that?
Can't remember.
Okay.
It was probably something important enough that despite the vastness of the choke, that it was worrisome at the time.
You were saying that you didn't know if you should remove it or not.
Still doesn't ring a bell.
My question though is, do you travel through the forest here, or do
Oh
you
heavens, no!
just?
I dare not stray beyond my wards.
Hmm.
It's not that you can't. There is one secure remaining pathway through the briar there, the brambles,
Up above?
right above. Yeah, that one right there. But if you breach that line, that path has one final use left before the choke realizes there's space to take.
I see.
Think of it as a forgotten trail. And when you tread upon it, it is no longer forgotten, and the magic of it is lost.
Makes sense.
It is a one-way trip, for the choke will actually seal up the path that you've tread on,
I get that.
for leaving only forward.
The only way out is through.
Where it goes out, but it is a journey of itself. Risky, too. You'll be tempted to stray from the path. Path is safe enough, I suppose, if you stay on it. But if you tread on off of it for the things that the trail offers, a couple steps there to check out that half buried backpack, or that remnants of a building, or is that a little clearing over there? What's in there? Is that a plant? Not so safe. And you may not be able to find the path back.
Alex, you on your way to pick up Loki?
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured you're on your phone.
You guys want to take a break or something? I mean, it's a little early for it. I'm just gonna take my phone with me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What? Get mom. No. What do you get? No. I'm literally just going to get her and coming back. Can I come with you? Can I come with you? Can I come with you? Like they never left the house before, and they only went to school today. Anyway, so what is the plan, gentlemen?
So I'm just putting up my gains. 34 shallow chits and 1 petal.
Gotcha. So when she said she was giving us 2 salvage shits apiece for the armor,
Per armor set.
right. So there's 17 suits of armor, so we should each get 34.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, she said 2 each.
Okay.
Or you could forego the pedal, and she'll give you 100 chits plus the 34.
Yeah, no. Like I need the pedals for the acid etching anyway.
Now that I have a petal, I can give one to you, so you can do one for me.
You can. Uh, in fact, no, I'm thinking out loud. We'll worry about it later. Anyway, so you said you were not interested in that medium frame that Hazard has. Well, no, the harness.
If I cut up the potatoes, will you Instapot them?
I will, Allegro. Yeah.
Jim, correct me if I'm wrong, but technically speaking, if you're trying to go through a space that's designed to be smaller than like a medium frame could go, you could take the harness off and then stow it. That's sort of a fundamental thing. You could take the harness off and then stow it and then travel through that space, right?
If you have a large stowable space, yeah, on you. But if you stow something, you are no longer fundamentally able to access it easily. It's a multi-round complex action to stow and unstow something.
Right. Something easy enough to do while exploring, but not to do in a pinch if you're trying to like escape.
Right. And also, if you stow your medium harness, and whatever armor you got left is what's protecting you. So if you're trying to fit through a tight space, and the armor you take off is the only thing protecting you from being crushed, you don't get to go through that space anyways.
Fair.
So could we potentially cannibalize the frame to serve as an upgrade for armor to allow the medium depth diving?
Run that by one more time.
So the harness, despite the fact that it's just a harness, lets me dive towards the
Yep.
next depth. So ostensibly, couldn't we cannibalize the harness to allow like another suit to dive like that down to the shelf?
You'd
Or
have
that-
to get another harness because it's a construct. You can't rip off the medium armor and strap on heavy armor to the harness. It's a harness.
Well, no. That's what I'm saying. Is can we take the stuff off the harness
No, it's
in
permanently
order
affixed.
to? Okay. So the
Think of it
harness,
as a suit of plate mail,
right? Or power armor.
but it's significant. Yeah, it's basically a suit of power armor or interlocking plate mail. It's a
Mhm.
very sophisticated set of uh, armor. Yes, it has to be, because otherwise it won't fool the waters.
All right. Well, there goes that idea. All right. Cool. So I've got one more thing I want to do, and then unless you can think of something that's needful beforehand for a go, I think we're ready to go.
more curious about the things in the shaman's workshop.
Right.
There's a few ones that I don't know, just catches my eye. I feel like we're not exploring this area well enough. I'm just accepting out of face value. Maybe some of this is just red herrings, but I feel like Matt usually makes it meaning for what's on the map.
Right. I don't necessarily disagree,
Yeah,
but there's sort of like,
yeah, it's all about if they're useful or not right now.
oh, I'm not worried about it being useful. My thing is that there's only so much that we can impose on our host. Maybe it depends on the let's go with the mood she's in.
Yeah,
But like there's only so far Alhazard's willing to push. And like if you want to go into the bramble, we can do that.
oh no, we're not going to go in the Bramble because that's a one time. We understand that. I was more talking about like the different like this skull on a rock. You know what I mean? Like there's a flower, there's a log, there's these
Mhm.
green things over here. What's actually in the garden? The mushrooms. Like there's all kinds of little tiny things that
Little tiny details that the DM painstakingly added, and you're like, they have to mean something.
yes, and sometimes it doesn't. But I feel like there's always, especially in this kind of situation we're in, might be something special about it.
Well, it's only going to matter when you notice it, because it's a story that way. I guess the question is what kind of story are you reading? Or what kind of story is being read about you?
Shaman, what is this skull? It looks like it's not from the waters. Was it something that
From the
came from the
choke.
Bible? From the choke. Yeah.
There was some creature that had died a long time ago. Usually, the forest devours everything, bones included. So I was
Mhm.
surprised to find it.
Seems
So I
like a
just
good
grabbed it
omen.
and kind of stuck it
Yeah.
on a rock. Yeah, that's about it.
Beginning's going to check around the rock to see if there's any engravings. I feel
Well,
like
she's done some engravings on the skull from her trade,
right.
but makes it look fancy. Mostly preservation runes.
Okay.
So
That was going to be my next question. Is what kind of inscription?
yeah, it's a preservation so that the keeps it from eroding.
Nice. Just because of the nature of the air here.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
Beginning is going to sleep again underneath the or beside the rock underneath the skull.
Hazard's going to be a good husband and go talk to his wife.
Good call. I'll be back then. I'm just going to get the potatoes ready.
Yep. You kind of pop back in.
Yep.
Oh, look, it's a wayward husband.
Oh, how wayward have I been?
I haven't really kept track of time myself.
Fair. This place I'm exploring is fascinating and incredibly deadly.
If you die, I'm going to be angry.
Of course.
And I will take it out on your people.
Well, that hardly seems fair.
It isn't.
Well, at least we admit it.
It is extremely petty, violent, unfair, and cruel.
Hmm.
Yes.
No, that seems fair. All I can do is try not to die.
I would hope so.
And essentially, he's going to sit down and just sort of like tell her a little bit about the Lost Sector and how time gets fucky the further down you go. That, you know, there is a possibility of being gone for either no time at all or an incredibly long time.
That seems rather
Nebulous?
wishy-washy.
Yes. Uh, but I thought it would be the dutiful thing to come and let you know, because there's likely to be some time in which I will simply be unreachable. Because I have a strange suspicion that if I were to attempt to come home while in the middle of the water, it would break the world. In a particularly upsetting way.
Control yourself.
I shall attempt to. So at that juncture, I'll just come by whenever I have hit safe harbor, as it were.
Fine.
It occurs to me to ask, just for the sake of asking, if you have any interest in coming with me.
Well, if you're going to dive and time is going to be stripped from you, then yes. But until then, no.
Fair enough. And essentially, Alhazard will sort of lay out the sort of scope of the third floor, the lost sector, sort of like.
Seems rather large, don't you think?
I'm not sure that it's all entirely contained within the labyrinth. And if it is, it's based in something deeper. I think this might be a place that connects to other places or eats pieces of other places. But whereas the out of bounds itself seems to take things from the tapestry and sort of incorporate them, I think this place takes lost spaces.
Well, there's quite a few of those.
Which would make it quite a large place. And most places are lost for a reason and are hostile, which would mean that the lost things would stay
You just
lost.
can't stay out of it, can you?
Not a bit.
Well, what are you going to do when it's explored?
Find somewhere else. Maybe eat a sandwich. Go on vacation again. Find somewhere else to explore.
You seem to really you're really attracted to the more dangerous places. Where are you going to find another one? This place is going to set a bar for your future adventures. And when danger pokes its head out, most will balk in its presence. You will stare on in boredom perpetually.
Honestly, I think after exploring the depths of this place, that other places would be a nice change of pace. It might be nice to go somewhere that isn't constantly trying to kill me. But I want to explore. I want to go places and find things. And if I explore this place and I plumb all of its depths and take everything it has to discover. Then, I don't know, we have a spaceship.
There's a couple spaceships. Yes.
Hmm.
If we don't like the smaller one, we can go steal one of the bigger ones.
We could. That could be an adventure in of itself.
Yes, but we'll have to deal with all the whiny voices of your people in charge of stuff.
That implies that we'll be able to hear them. I can always just take out the comm system.
I was talking about in person.
What if we're gone so long they forget who we are? Then all they know is that a long forgotten ship with mysterious upgrades, because of course I'm not going to keep their stock options.
Yes,
Return
but
after
you
some
are the
time.
Shatterstar. Your people are not gonna forget.
Maybe. But the fun fact of it is that they don't even recognize me anymore. You know, there's a whole line of people, a whole slew of the cyber psychos that look like me. They made a
Huh.
run off of my base. I
So that's a
walked amongst,
compliment.
I'd like to think so, but I walked amongst the other cyber psychos and they did not even recognize me for who I was. Given time, I'll just be a name, and I can appear as whoever I want. That's the nature of legends. The specifics fade. The
If you're gone
story
too
endures.
long, one of those of your face will steal your legend.
Then I'll come back and beat him.
You may be too distracted.
Only if you're with me.
Well, if you're in your dangerous lost places, you won't be able to even notice.
Which is why it's important to always come back home, just for a visit. To make sure things are as they should be.
Hmm. Your dog is a menace, by the way.
Oh yes, he's wonderful. I would have brought him with me, and in fact, I think I'll bring him with me if I journey to other places in the out of bounds. But in this place, he would likely melt,
Of course.
which would be a sad end to him. Yeah, as was basically, sit, have some time with her. He's going to spend like the full 6 months here. Just sort of like doing that thing of like walking amongst his people, sort of like just hanging out with his family, playing with his dog. And he's going to spend the next 10 minutes just hanging out on Simsai for 6 months.
Cool.
Time dilation. Yeah. And when he gets back, we're going to eat that angler. I don't know if Johnny had some stuff he wanted to do. Johnny, you there?
Yeah, I'm back now.
You got anything you want to do while Ezra takes 10 minutes and walks through a doorway in reality?
Yeah. So beginning's going to, like I said before to Matt, lay back against the rock, kind of look up against up to the skull, be like, where you came from. And then she's going to take her compass out in her hand and just start to drift off. That's what beginning's going to do. She's going to dream.
Mm-hmm. What are you dreaming for?
I don't know. So dreams are. They're all random and messed up and sometimes cool. But maybe I'll get a vision of where this thing came from and its story.
This was one of the pinnacle creatures at one point in the third floor.
I see.
Third floor was a lot different back then. It was a lot more open.
I mean, it makes sense. Like, it was only until people just started putting their waste. And
That actually came from the inhabitation of the higher floors.
right, yeah, it was a trickle down. Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it wasn't so much as the wastes, particularly from the biology of people and their industries, although that was a small percentage.
Mhm.
There was a different type of waste that was produced at the higher floors that trickled down, and it was anything that was not consumed that was just kind of left and tossed away. And that
Yeah.
could even be anything as something as vague as faith. If you are a god or an entity who feeds off of faith and you have an excess of prayer, that could end up being left on, fall into deaf ears, as they so would say. And that would find its way into the wastebasket.
Right.
Everything in this place is part of the ecosystem. This place, the depths, the choke, the loss of territory, the weird place that this is now, is actually the direct result, from what you can tell, of just inhabiting this place.
Right. It's a build up.
Yeah.
But it must have been on the design, because otherwise, why would the third
Not
floor
necessarily.
You don't think? Okay.
Well, it doesn't have to be. There's a lot of ways that waste can be managed in this particular place. You're bordering got a lot of nebulous space. You could just eject it and have it be destroyed.
Yeah.
But no one has particularly cared or looked into how the ecosystem really works, other than the abusable system of power. There are a few, but really doesn't amount to entirely all that much in comparison to the other efforts that have been put into this place.
Clue, though.
This would have been a very powerful creature a long time ago.
For sure.
In comparison to what you're running into now, An average person from floor 3 could probably win in a fight. It'd be a near thing, but as long as they weren't ambushed and gored,
Right.
it'd be a pretty even fight. Power level's gone drastically up.
It's just such a wide variety to choose from. Of course, makes sense. Pulling in from wherever in the tapestry.
So it's actually kind of interesting if you kind of look at it. This place was a lot larger. Like the third floor was huge. Should be easily able to house any number of people all over the place. But only the more people that arrive, the less space on the third floor becomes available.
What about the height, though? Did that change, or is that still the same? 'Cause-
Well, space for the third floor has always been weird. Most of the time, it's kind of most would think of it as a cylinder shape, but it's kind of an amorphous blob.
yeah, I knew that. It was more of on
The
previous
Euclidean
knowledge of-
geometry matters to this place.
more a matter of the third floor is the biggest spot, but height wise was why, and we understand that now because of how deep you can go.
Well, the lost sector is adjacent to the rest of the third floor, right? Like it's not actually fabricated into the like the size of the third floor itself isn't intrinsically connected to the size of the lost sectors attached to it.
Yeah, sure. The lost sectors are rather strange. Mostly
Yeah.
be in the way that they seem to be directly attached to the labyrinth. But at the same time, you would think they would be in adjacent space because of the size considerations for each of the
Mhm.
places you went to, like the floor below, titanically huge. Same with this place. In fact, if you were to put all the space together, each of these lost sectors easily dwarf all of the space found
Yeah,
in the labyrinth.
for sure.
But
But they're only like loosely connected to it.
or directly connected, and they just kind of wrap and twist their way around and don't obey Euclidean geometry or space and time. I'm not sure. Either which way, they're definitely one of the most